Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Dave Rogers with Meet the Author. And today we're going to Maine in the United States with Dr. Avram Weiss. Hi, Avram. How are you doing today?
Hi. Good. Good to see you.
Fantastic. Avram, will you please tell us a little bit about you and why did you write this book?
I'm a psychologist and an author. And when I had some things happen in my life that ended up with me seeing a lot of men in my practice, which is unusual, as most of your listeners probably know. Men are not the greatest consumers of psychotherapy. So it was unusual to be working with men. So I learned a lot. And I noticed that session after session after session, I would hear men talk about things they were unhappy with in their relationships. And when I'd ask them, if they talked to their partner about this, they almost universally looked at me like I was a little crazy. Like the idea of talking to, and I was surprised. So gradually it occurred to me that they were afraid to talk to their partners. And that was sort of and then I started listening to men with that lens and kept hearing it again and again and again. And that's when I understood that I was onto something that is pretty much universal, but for some reason not really talked about.
It's fascinating. And in doing research about authoring also, I've noticed that more than 80% of books that are purchased are never read. And so in doing these interviews with authors, I wanted to maybe get a little synopsis, like a little breakdown of what is the key takeaway in your book, so we can not only share if that the attention of most people has really decreased over the years, to just at least give them some real nugget of wisdom. So if you would be kind enough to share your key theme, or what is one main takeaway from your book, and perhaps if you just share a little bit about your book.
Sure. Well, the takeaway would be, if you're in a committed relationship and you keep having the same fight over and over again, and you've been having it for years or decades or God knows how long, and for the life of you, you can't figure out why you keep having the same fight and why it never goes anywhere, I think this book might have some clues for you about why that is so.
Fantastic. And I'm going to actually ask a different question. It's
sure.
How did you come up with the idea? Like, what was the moment that you said, this has got to be a book, or is this something that you've been journaling for years and it came about, or is it something that you just decided you're going to get it out?
Well, about 10 years is about how long I've been working on it, but this is my fourth book and each one's taken 10 years. So that seems to be about how long it takes. The idea was in that moment when I was listening to a man tell me that he, actually it was one of the people I talked with was in the process of getting a divorce and got divorced and never told his wife what he was unhappy about. And then when it occurred to me that these guys were scared of their wives, I started intentionally using the word scared with men. And it's not a word men like to hear. And they sure particularly don't like to hear it in reference to women. And when I would ask guys, I'd say, it sounds like you're scared of her, I would get the same reaction literally 100% of the time. The first 30 seconds I got, kind of the I ain't scared of nobody reaction. But very quickly, sort of a look of recognition would come over their faces and they would be like, well, actually, I am scared to talk to her. And then things just would open up so beautifully from there. Once a guy would acknowledge fear, then it's like the defenses melted and so much more opened up. So that was pretty compelling and I wanted to learn more about it.
It's beautiful. And in today's session, we're going to do an overtime session also. Yet we'll just finish up this segment for authors. And what advice would you give to new authors?
Well, the simplest piece of advice, and it's a little cliched, is to write. So a lot of where people get in trouble is they're waiting for, I don't know if we're allowed to use words on, but I had a professor in graduate school say, what happens when you get your feces together, you have a pile of feces. So if you're waiting for the idea to be fully formulated, you're never going to write the book. So set aside time to write and just start writing your thoughts, and you're going to figure it out in the process of writing, as opposed to thinking you have to have it figured out before you start writing.
And talk to other
people. and talk to other people. Yeah.
The idea of writing, the idea of getting it down on paper, the idea of then bringing perhaps a team around you to make it a project or initiative so that it can become a reality. I got this question about if you could get your book into the hands of someone, anyone in the world, in the next 6 months, who would you like to have?
Wow. That's a great question. I don't know enough about popular culture to give you a specific answer, but it would be some person who has the ear of young men, whether that's a rap star or a movie star. I don't know who that person, I'm just not familiar enough with culture to know, but some person who really could speak to young men and deliver the message to young men.
I love the specificity, but I'm also going to push it a little bit. All the people that you see, who might it be? Would it be an athlete? Would it be somebody who is an actor for you, like resonates with you?
Now you're asking a different question. If it's for me, it'd be, the person I trust the most would be maybe someone like Barack Obama. But I don't think that's who young people are listening to. So to me, it would have to be, I just don't know the culture enough to know who they listen to. It probably would have to be a number of people, but there's a wonderful woman who wrote a book where she makes a very bold claim. And she says, all the stuff we're doing to fight sexism, to fight the patriarchy is all good, but there's only one thing that's going to end the patriarchy, and that is when men become equal parents. And so someone who could speak to young men who are dads and encourage them to not let themselves be shut out, because women will shut men out of their children's lives for a number of complicated reasons. And men have to be assertive and step forward. I always tell guys, be the one who gets up in the middle of the night. No, I got to go to work. I know, but it's the only time you're going to get unsupervised time with your kids. So
great tips. In fact, see, one of the things that we do with this little interview is we put a hashtag to Barack Obama, or we put a hashtag or whoever's name is on your consciousness, because of the way that things are flowing today. It's quite elegant. I love your tip about waking up in the middle of the night and really creating this energetic connection that a man can have with their child. And there's nothing, again, my whole life, the greatest feeling is having my son fall asleep on my chest.
Absolutely.
There's something divine about that gives me goosebumps to say it's over 21 years ago since he's been on this planet. So.
Nothing like it. I did think of another name, which is a little controversial. I just was watching the news before we got on, and I thought, I'm going to send Joe Rogan an email saying, if you want to redeem yourself, have me on your show to talk about men's fears of work, because I think his audience would be a really important group of people to reach.
And to be honest with you, Avram, because I've been following Mr. Dr. Peterson, and there's another gentleman here in Canada, Gad Saad, and both of these guys have written the books for men, and The Parasitic Mind, and then Jordan's got the book about helping young men. Number one habit is make your bed. And so when I met you on the forum to assist men, I thought, wow, it'd be great to play that little role that he could play on Joe. So, and Joe Rogan is a perfect person that could potentially be an advocate for many of the things that you're about. So that's great.
He might be just desperate enough right now to take me up on it.
That's great. Well, we'll put that down there, a hashtag there, and if you're on there, it'll be awesome. So
if I am, I'll send you a thank you note.
We'll share this with our friends and allow this message for authors to inspire authors, and with a specific area. I like to also ask, what was the book that influenced you the most in the past year?
I would say in the last year is a book called Conflict is Not Abuse by Sarah Schulman of NYU or Harvard. And basically it's a critique of our current times, and basically saying when we start labeling all conflict as abuse, it gives people an out from the conflict and encourages them to just polarize and hurl accusations at each other and not work things through. Very important book, I thought.
Fantastic. Actually, dealing with conflict is one of these areas that our young ones are a bit amiss with the ability to have disagreement, yet the respect to ask questions and leave a conversation to agree not to agree. And that's,
I actually wrote another book also this year, a very small book that's exactly on that subject. It's called Living and Loving Mutually, and it's basically it's a compilation of online columns, but it's basically meant as a handbook for couples. Very, very plain, simple language, very concrete, very specific. Here's how to work through conflict. Here's how to get through tough places because of exactly the need you're talking about.
Beautiful. So, Avram, share with our audience today ways that people can connect with you and also where they can get a copy of your latest book.
You can get the book on Amazon, and the book is Hidden in Plain Sight: How Men's Fears of Women Shape Their Intimate Relationships. You can reach me at A.G. Weiss, which is AGWEISS at Comcast.net. And there's also an invite you to join a Facebook group. If you go on Facebook and put in the search Men's Fears of Women, it'll take you to a group that's just for people who want to talk about this topic.
Thank you very much, Aaron Weiss. Pleasure to meet you today.
It's good to meet you too. Take care.